ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Dragons and Demon Podcast with host Kevin Perry, the podcast about real motivation.
Welcome back to another episode of Dragons and Demons Podcast, the podcast about real motivation, real talk, real truth, and a couple other things. So, we are back, another season, another episode. Last episode was kind of like an intro to what the season is going to look like, how things are going to run a little bit differently, a little faster than the last season or seasons, if you've been here since day one. I appreciate everyone who's followed along, everyone who has liked, subscribed, and followed and shared and all the social media things that you do. You can find me at Coach P_knows everywhere, and obviously this podcast is on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere that podcast can be pretty much. So again, thanks for all the feedback. I've really been enjoying doing the show, and we will continue to do so. It's been a very busy couple days for me, but we'll get into that in a minute. Today's topic is about depression, specifically depression in men and the reality that is there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about me and my background, kind of the things I've gone through and what I believe is actually going on with some of the world today. All right, so depression in men. Let's talk about me, my favorite topic of all. There was a time when I was severely depressed and didn't know it. And no, I was not at the point where I considered hurting myself or taking my life. Depression looks different in a lot of different people. I was never at that point. I don't know if it's innate, if it's built in you, if you catch those similarities, or if it's just like degrees of separation on how far down the rabbit hole and how depressed you can be. I was not there, but I was not in a good place. I was very self-defeating, self-destructive, kind of led myself off course. And my medicine, the way I fixed myself, was through humor, was through food, and kind of giving me a false sense of where I should go. So I didn't notice it at the time, but now looking back, my most depressed state and kind of the deepest I was in, and I'm going to give you the causes first. So I was kind of in a rut when it came to working and coaching, and we had just kind of climbed out, or we're starting to climb out of the pandemic, and this is just the peak. And for me, I was working so hard in every facet of my life that I just could not give any time back to myself or my family. And I had poured so much into others and poured so much into other things that I lost myself. I was fixated on trying to literally fill that hole, and I did it with food. And a lot of people do that. So I found myself gorging myself constantly, and I'll kick myself forever. And this is one of my biggest regrets. So I at the time kind of smoothed over my depression with food, and with the reason why I look this way and the reason why I'm getting so big is because I am gearing up to be the strongest bencher there ever was. And I was determined on bench pressing 600 pounds. And I wanted to do it. And yes, I could have achieved it. But again, I'm kicking myself now because if I would have just taken care of myself, I probably could have hit that goal. But instead, I was half working. I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I needed to. There was a couple other factors in there, but I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I should have. I wasn't taking care of my body as well as I should have. I definitely wasn't eating as healthy as I should have, and it took a toll. So I found myself debating whether to go see like a therapist, and not that I have anything against that, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And maybe it was like a self-doubting thing where I was like, I'm depressed, and I was afraid to hear it. So I'm going through all that. I'm packing on the weight, and I'm looking at pictures of myself, and I'm over 310 pounds in my morning weigh-ins. And then I stopped weighing myself, and I stopped taking pictures of myself. I stopped looking at myself in the mirror, and it just started to crumble. And I was at this teetering point, and luckily for me, it was all trending towards this powerlifting meet that I did, where I was like gaining for that on purpose, and my eating habits were trajectory towards that date, and it was all purposeful, at least I thought. So what kind of peaked for me was, again, all the career stuff tied together, putting all that pressure on me. putting all that pressure on my body and putting all that food and things into my system that caused it to kind of, you would call it a low point, but for me it was a high point in body weight and in lifting and things like that. So that day I bench pressed 585 pounds here in the basement. I bench pressed 570 pounds in a meet. I went for 580 for a state record. I tweaked my pec. I didn't tear my pec, thank gosh. I didn't tear my pec, but I hit 570 and everything was cool. And I still didn't feel like I was in this sense of depressive state. I felt like I was just, this is what I'm supposed to do. Until I saw a picture of me. And if any of you have been following my social media, on Sunday I posted a picture where it was 2 old heavy pictures of me and 1 new picture of me. And the one picture of me, and maybe I'll put it right here on YouTube. The one picture of me wearing the Carnivore Month shirt, the green Carnivore Month shirt, a backwards hat, big beard, of me holding my powerlifting trophy at the powerlifting meet with a thumbs up. That picture right there was when I looked a day later or that day or whatever, looked at that picture and was like, oh no, it happened. It happened to me. I let this monster of depression get to me. And I looked at my face, and my face was so big and red. You could see my blood pressure in my face. And I just thought to myself, this is what the end looks like. If I don't fix things now, I will never get back to where I want to be. I will never get healthy again. I mean, I was at a point where I was going to see the doctor just to be like, basically my question in my head walking into the doctor's office was, how much time do I have left? I mean, it was not that bad. Like, things were way better than I laid it out to be. But I went in there and got a battery of tests done just to check up on things. And there was some surprises and some things that he shared with me that needed to get in check. And really that appointment there and that picture there is kind of what was like, woo, enough is enough. It's time to clean things up. So that was bad. That was where I was at. What it took to get me out of that was having that realization and having that picture. And then it just went on this craze of like trying to figure it out. And it took me, I mean, I probably lost 30 pounds just in stopping the powerlifting and stopping the crash eating that I was doing. And I was doing well there. But then I was stuck in another rut of being like 290, 280 and just couldn't string together constant workout programs that I built for myself. I've been building workout programs since I was 14 years old, and I've been building nutrition programs since I was 21 years old. Like, I've been doing all this. I can give the perfect advice to a high school kid. I can give a perfect advice to someone else. When it comes time for me to do it, I just couldn't string together a couple days. And then it started to all come together. My career started to take off, and football started to be a distant a past for me, and I started to separate from there, and it just started to open up doors to free time and things that was like, man, this, if I'm gonna do it, I have to do it all in. And then I became obsessive with it, and I've always kind of said that if I became a drug addict, I'd be the worst one there is or the best one there is, because I just have an addictive personality. And luckily for me, I've always used fitness or athletics or nutrition or something like that to kind of guide me in the right direction. And I get addicted to positive things like that. And that's kind of what got me there. So just stringing together a couple things and finding people and leaning on people around me, that's really been a huge help for me. So what it took to get me out of there was having that realization, seeing that picture of myself, seeing me at what I thought would be my worst, and then having people, looking at people that can help me. Yes, there are people that you could bank on. There's people that will say the right things. There's people that will have your back sometimes. Finding the people that will truly be there every step of the way, the people that support your goals. And I've talked about it before, the people in your tight circle. So not the people that just want to talk and hang with you when you're at the gym, but I mean the people that when you miss a workout, they're the ones that are like, hey, where you been? When you haven't talked to them in a month, you could pick up the phone and talk to them like you haven't missed a beat. So having those people in my tight circle definitely helped. And then it became more regular and things started to get better and you start to string together more workouts, and then an injury happens. But hey, you found a way to kind of work around it, and then you string together more and you just kind of consistency, man, sticking to it, and that's always been. And then finally it started to catch and things started to change. My body started to change. I started to feel way better. My sleep got way better, and things just started to develop over time, being consistent, being patient. And then it got to a point where it was like, all right, I think I'm at the point now where I can be perfect. And I started stringing together small spells of perfection where it was like, all right, I'm going to do 3 days perfect. Did it, no problem. 3 days is easy. Then I kind of ventured off. Like, it wasn't like I went and binge ate for 3 days. I just kind of let go, and then I went back to it. And then I tried a water fast just to see what my discipline level would be like. That went great. And I was like, all right, let me try a week. Let me try a month. Let me try 30 days. Let me try 45 days. That 45 days turned into 223 days now. So I'd say things are going pretty good. So that's what it took to get me out, just consistency, patience, and stringing things together. I mean, what it probably looked like as an outsider, what it probably looked like for someone else who didn't know what I was going through in my head, was like, man, this guy's really gone through a transformation. He looks humongous, and I guess this is what he wants. This is what he wants, to be bigger. And hearing the workouts and seeing what little is out there, and the people are probably like, man, he's got it all figured out. I did not. I was very good at hiding it. And one thing that social media brought to me is social media is the fakest thing out there. So what you see is only what people want you to see. They're either bragging, or they're boasting, or they're faking it. And you see it a lot with poor relationships. They're on there blasting their relationship, their significant other, when in a positive light, when it might not be so great. So as an outsider, it probably looked fine. What's different now is I have that inner voice in me, and granted, not all the time. I'm not perfect. That voice inside my head tells me I can do this. That voice in my head tells me that things are better, and I can take it. I can take full spectrum of the things that I've worked towards. I can look at the small victories like I never have before. When I was powerlifting, a small victory going from a 545 bench to a 555 bench was like, man, that's what I need. And then I have 2 weeks of not being able to hit big numbers. And then I'd come back, and a week later I'd hit a big number again. And it was like, that's what I needed. But instead, now it's everything. So I'm not really watching the scale. When I see a new thing pop in the mirror, when I see something I haven't seen before, when I see something new, it's like I can really take it all in. And sometimes it might be the scale. Sometimes it might be just an eating habit. Sometimes it might be a new recipe where I'm like, I actually enjoyed what I ate. There's small victories, and having appreciation for it has really been helpful. So that's what depression looked like from me from the inside. As an outsider, I'm assuming that's what it looked like. Now, society today, and this is not the case 100%, but I feel like society is ready to just label everything as a depressive characteristic, where everybody says they're depressed, everybody is constantly suffering from signs of depression. And I say everybody, but I feel like the term is just being way overused. I have bad days. There's days when I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to kind of put my head down, get through the day, and come back. And you see these things all the time. And there's just people have bad days, and sometimes bad weeks, and sometimes bad weekends. But does that mean they're depressed? No, it does not. Sometimes you just have a bad day. Depression is like that unspoken thing that is just stuck inside you. It's that rut you're stuck in. It's that gear you just can't quite click past. It's that knot in your stomach that you just cannot get over. And again, sometimes it grows and grows and grows because you don't know how to address it, or you don't have the help to address it. But just having a bad day, when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, when you step in dog poop as you walk out your front door, it rains when you get out of your car, that is not depression. Some people need to kind of get that out of their head right now, and focus on the green grass, the wonderful way the world is, and appreciate what we have in front of us. Warning signs. I mean, for me, the warning signs were really hard to see. For me, the warning signs, looking back, it was the weight gain. But again, I had an excuse. I played it off. The warning signs, I don't think anybody would able to, I bet you if you sat down with my wife right now, she probably wouldn't have been able to tell you, because it was such an internal fight for me. I knew I was going through it. I knew it was something worse than just a bad day. Sometimes you just got to be honest with yourself and know what it is, and it's got to be beyond that. Again, bad days happen, but when it starts to grow and it's just unexplainable, maybe it's a sign to talk to someone. And you don't have to jump to a therapist right away if you don't want to. There's, like I said, people in your circle that you could turn and talk to, just to be like, and I've turned and talked to my brother, and people that are real close to me. And sometimes I couldn't talk to my wife about it, so I talked to him, or sometimes I couldn't talk to him, so I talked to her. And I don't know, it's, you got to find someone. And if you can't fight that demon yourself, you got to find someone. Just like getting help for powerlifting or bodybuilding, or getting help in your fitness journey, getting help in your career, getting help anywhere, getting help, it matters in depression too. You got to find a way. And why not? There's trained professionals that are out there. They get a whole career built around helping people out of that rut. So it might seem like you're being pitied on. It might feel like you're doing the wrong things. It might feel like someone would think less of you, but why not take advantage of that? Why not take advantage of someone putting their hand out to help you up? Why not walk through the door when someone opens it for you? You might as well, because in 2-3 months, or for me, 3 years later, you'd turn around and help the next person through, and then you're giving it right back. So to all the people that didn't realize they gave me a hand when I was on the ground and was at my worst, and they helped me up, now I'm able to help 50 other people just because I found a way to get out. Whew, that was a lot. So again, just to review, I mean, when I was at my deepest, darkest place, it was not that visible. I was not very vocal about it then, and it wasn't as bad as some people see and some people talk about. So don't think for a second that I have been the most depressed person ever, and I believe that. I don't believe that I had the worst case. People have it way worse off than I do. Luckily, I was able to get myself out of there with the help of others, friends, family, loved ones, and finding my passion again, and finding things that ignite the fire within. And I feel like if I kind of hit the right time, that it could have gotten worse or it could have gotten better, and it got better for me. So that's my spiel on depression. Don't let society label a bad day as depression, and you'll be just fine. So what's new with me? Let's go there. If you haven't seen my social media, I've started an online coaching fitness business, I guess you could say. But there's a couple facets to it. Yes, I am charging money for it, but that's really because I want to take that money and turn it into growth. There's a bunch of online certifications I want to take. There's a bunch of online programs I want to get locked into. There's a bunch of things I want to grow. I want to do better. I want to do more. I want to learn. I want to learn. I want to learn. It's what I've always wanted to do. But I also want to help people. I have goals myself. I want to head some sort of bodybuilding pathway, and I want to get leaner and grow muscle. But I also want to see if people are stuck in these ruts that I've talked about. Can I get a mother of two out of that rut? Can I get a father of three? Can I get someone who lives a sedentary lifestyle? Can I get them out of there? Can I get someone who has some health concerns? Can I get them out of there? So I want to see, I only get one body, so I can only really chase one goal. So I want to work with other people, help them accomplish their goals, and get Coach P back to the coaching ranks is really what it boils down to. So right now I have 5 committed clients, and I have about 10 or 11 more that we're talking. We're going to see how it goes. I was only going to take 7, but I'll probably take closer to 10. And then I'll shut the door on this one and work with these people for a while. And who knows, maybe I'll open it back up. Just already, just in doing some of the intakes and kind of talking with some people just to kind of get them started has been so much fun. And it's been such a breath of fresh air. And it's like back in my GNC days when I wanted to help everybody that walked through the doors, and it's been really refreshing. And this is in addition to my career. Obviously, I'm still doing my job, and this is going to be all of my hours outside of work, and it's probably going to take a lot more time and energy that I might be able to dedicate it to it right now. But again, it's been a breath of fresh air. It's been rejuvenating. I'm really excited for it. So for me, I went to a bodybuilding show yesterday, the OCB Pro Natural Bodybuilding Show, Pro Bodybuilding Show yesterday to watch a friend. Um, I want it. I want to get back on stage. So we'll see. I have a couple adjustments, a couple concerns about the progress that I need to make. And if I can cross those hurdles and keep climbing, then who knows? Maybe I'll be up there with the self tanner and the baby oil on again, and we'll get after it. Well, that's another great episode. Thanks for listening. This one's going to be closer to 20 minutes, so we're going to keep them light in this season and see how things go. If you have questions, concerns, please hit me up. Please, please, please give the show a 5-star review. Give me a rating, review, and a follow, and a share, and a like, and a repost, and what else? All those things. I'd like to get my message out to more people. I want to help more people. If you have a topic you want me to discuss or have questions for me, by all means, we will get back on the interview scene at some point. But in the meantime, I'm just sharing some thoughts. That's all I got. Have a strong day.